Hello and welcome to some really juicy news. Do you remember this case, this incident, the senseless murder of George Floyd some time back, and this officer was responsible for that murder. Okay, Minneapolis to pay $37.6 million to settle George Floyd family's lawsuit. That's good news for them. The city of Minneapolis today agreed to pay US 27 million NZ, New Zealand 37.6 million, to settle a civil lawsuit from George Floyd's family over the black man's death in police custody as jury selection continued in the former officer's murder trial. New charges added against US police officer accused of killing George Floyd, murdering him. Chauvin has already been charged with second-degree murder and now also faces a third-degree charge. The Minneapolis City Council will emerge from closed session to announce the settlement, which includes US $500,000, New Zealand $696,494 for the neighbourhood where Floyd was arrested. Floyd family attorney Ben Crump called a news conference for 1 p.m. that was to include family members. Crump, in a prepared statement, said it was the largest pre-trial civil rights settlement ever and sent a powerful message that black lives do matter, of course they matter, as do whites, and police brutality against people of colour must end. Floyd was declared dead on May 25th after Derek Chauvin, a former officer who was white, pressed his knee against his neck for about 9 minutes. Floyd's death sparked sometime violent protests in Minneapolis and beyond and led to a national reckoning on racial justice. I hope that today will send to the voices of the family anything that they would like to share. Council President Lisa Bender said, but I do want to, on behalf of the entire City Council, offer my deepest condolences to the family of George Floyd, his friends and all of our community who are mourning his loss. Floyd's family filed a federal civil rights lawsuit in July against the city. Chauvin and 3 other fired officers charged in his death. It alleged the officers violated Floyd's rights when they restrained him, and that the city allowed a culture of excessive force, racism and impunity to flourish in its police force. In 2019, Minneapolis agreed to pay US 20 million, New Zealand dollars 27.8 million, to the family of Justine Ruszczyk Damond, an unarmed woman who was shot by an officer after she called 911 to report hearing a possible crime happening behind her home, to settle her family's civil rights lawsuit. Damond was white. The federal lawsuit sought unspecified compensatory and special damages in an amount to be determined by a jury. It also sought a receiver to be appointed to ensure that the city propelled, trains and supervise officers in the future. Okay, and there's more information there. If you'd like to read the article, I'll leave the link below this report, this video. Okay, because we're going to have a look at what this video says. Yes to say.
A new charge has been added against a former Minneapolis police officer accused of killing George Floyd. Derek Chauvin has already been charged with second-degree murder and now also faces a third-degree charge. It might be easier to prove but carries a lesser penalty. Mr. Floyd's death sparked worldwide protests against racism and police brutality. Chauvin's pleaded not guilty.
Well, how could he be not guilty if he had his knee on his neck and he was yelling out, "I can't breathe, I can't breathe"? Okay.
Police have confirmed that sponge rounds were fired during the 6-day standoff at Waikeria prison. During the riot, families of the protesting inmates had complained their whānau were being shot at. Police say they used the rounds to protect their officers and correction staff. They say the weapons are non-lethal and are used in high-risk situations where people are likely to harm themselves or others.
Okay, that was an incident in New Zealand at a prison there. Okay, I just left it running. It seems to automatically run by itself, like this. I paused it and it just ran by itself. Yeah, so that's great that the family got a payout, but you know, that'll never bring George Floyd back. And this guy has the cheek to say that he's not guilty. You can see on video he deliberately put his knee on him and he pleaded, I can't breathe, and he still put pressure on his neck until he died. Okay, so that in a sense is good news that they've got their money from Minneapolis, because they allowed excessive force, racism and impunity to flourish in its police force. Okay. So if you like that short, sweet and real juicy news report, then please subscribe to our channel and your likes, give us a thumbs up, add your comments to the comment section below, and don't forget to ring that bell, set that bell, so that you'll be notified of any other real juicy news reports that we bring you.